All right. Let's see. Is this on? What's going on here? How come I'm not getting any audio? There we go. Is that it? All right. Where's the audio here? Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I think my microphone is dead. Oh, wait. You know what? Here's the problem. All right. Let's go. Let's see if that does it. Okay. All right. There we go. I think I got it fixed now. What's going on, everybody? Sorry about that. Sorry about the weird start to today's episode of the Kofuzi Run Club live stream. Trivia Tuesday for today. Hope you guys are doing well. It's 3 p.m. or a little bit after 3 p.m. here in Chicago on Tuesday, May 19th. I got that right. All right. Awesome. Yeah, now it's working. Sorry about that, everybody. Good to see everybody here. Hope you guys are doing well. It is a cloudy day. It was supposed to be a little bit nicer of a day today, I think. But it's just super foggy still and overcast. It wasn't supposed to rain during my run, but I got rained on. Not that bad, but a little bit today. So that was a little bit of a surprise. I wasn't expecting that. I'm going to try again going without the hat on for today, but we'll see how much the hair bothers me. It's getting really long and really floppy. It just frustrates me all the time. And the mustache is getting long too. I've got some mustache trimmers that should be arriving either today or tomorrow. Like not just a mustache trimmer, but like a facial hair trimmer. So I think I'm going to use that and try to keep everything a little bit more clean. Because I mean, having like a quarantine mustache is one thing, but I think I need to work on this a little bit. Anyway, good to see everybody here today. I saw Martha's in here, Matthew Shays coming in from Nebraska, John Harris, young trainer. Kevin Sumrall, awesome, good to see everybody. Kevin asks, am I still using the Stride foot pod and would I recommend it? I am still using the Stride foot pod. I use it on every run. It annoys me when I forget it, and I very rarely forget it. And there were a couple of shoes where I couldn't figure out a way to get the foot pod on there because of the way the shoe was designed, and it really annoyed me. And so it's something that I really love having. I admit that I've been primarily using it for pace and distance data only, almost exclusively. But in my next marathon training block, I think I'll be using it more to help guide some of my interval training. Because I've been heart rate training, but that's not always so, it's not like responsive enough when you're talking about like doing like fartleks or interval. Not always. You're relying a lot on feel when you're doing heart rate training and doing like speed work. So I'm trying to use the foot pod so I can get power data, and that'll tell me more accurately like how hard am I working, if I'm working hard enough or too hard, that kind of thing. Bladders Grabnar says, hello, was waiting for you to start. You know, I had made a thumbnail for this one today, and the whole plan was to make the thumbnail, get it uploaded to YouTube, so that way it would be like ready, and that way there's a place for everyone to kind of like meet, so you don't have to like wait for me to start the live stream. You could just go and be there for when it starts. And then I think the day got away from me, and I was having not a great day at home. I've been very obviously running into my limitations as a teacher of certain things, and I was getting frustrated, and I was not directing that energy in the most productive ways. And so I got to take a step back and breathe a little bit and remember what the ultimate goals are. And the ultimate goals are to make sure that my daughter learns and not get in her way of learning, which I feel like I was today. So I'm working on it. I'm new. I've been teaching for a long time, but I teach young adults or not so young adults. So it's very different. So it's a very different approach too. Cody Davis says, talking about Mexican food the other day got me to make a cheese and refried bean taco. It's good. It's good. I had a frequent dish that I'll make for lunch when I don't like know what else to make is like either refried beans or just regular beans. Microwave them in a bowl with some cheese, and then once that's done, microwave got everything like warm and melted. Then put some salsa on top, and then just make like it's like a bean dip. And so I just eat that with a bunch of tortilla chips, and so that's like a very quick, very simple snack that I like to eat. Sometimes I eat it as like a lunch. Um, Rainder Kane says, I'm a new fan who is getting into running. Any tips? I would say, based on that, there's not a lot to go off on there, but I will say welcome. It's great. One of the great things about running, one of the great tips I can give you about running is to find a community that will support you in your running, and I think hopefully you found it here. The other thing I would generally say to people is to run today so you can run tomorrow. So don't overdo it in the beginning. I say in the middle too, after you've been running for a long time, is don't overdo it then either. Because I think, especially with beginners though, what's very tempting is, especially after a couple of days of running, you're like, "Ooh, I'm getting good at this," and then you go out and have a real hard day, and then you find, "Ooh, the next day I'm like, oh, I'm really sore. Maybe I'll take today off," and then you take 2 days off, and then maybe that turns into 3, and then all of a sudden you've like lost your habit. And so the idea is to run today so you can run tomorrow, so you can build good habits, because habits are hard to break, good or bad. Kurt Steege says, "Yo, what's going on?" Ross Paul says, "Hello from Scotland." In his number says, "Enjoyed the video on Strava today. I've tried a month subscription." Yeah, I think I'm going to try it just to see what I'm missing. I've never really felt incredibly compelled to try the subscription, but I don't know if it made. Like I edited the video really quickly this morning, but I went into. I think I cut it out, but there's been. It was something that has always been like my perennial for the last 2 years. It was going to be my like New Year's resolution video. I think the free trial was going to be like, it used to be 14 days or maybe 28 days or something like that. Do the trial, and then at the end of the trial, like give my thoughts on if it's worth it. Or to do that like around Thanksgiving, so that if people wanted to gift a subscription to someone, they could do that. So to get either the New Year's resolution people or the holiday gift people, I always thought like that would be an interesting video to make. I always ended up never doing it because it wasn't that interesting. But it's like it's an app that I've been using for 8,000 miles, so I've been there a while. So I do kind of feel like I should pay something to it because I have been really enjoying having it there. That being said, like if I didn't have it there, I still keep track of my mileage separately in Excel because the shoe mileage tracking isn't always accurate for some reason. I've noticed a lot of issues with that, and I'm not sure exactly why that is, but I always keep track of my mileage separately as well. But I do like having the fact that like no matter what device I'm using, like it automatically pushes up to Strava, and then how I keep track of my mileage separately is by going to my Strava and transcribing from there the data to keep track of how many miles I have on each shoe. Let's see. Matt Koenig says, "Hey man, finally catching you live. Awesome. Glad to have you here." He says, "I still have to run today, short 4 miles." Well, sounds like fun. That's a fun distance to be running. I hope you have a good run. Steve says, "Evening. Hope you are having a great day. Glad to be back out after a rest day." Awesome. He ran in the React Infinity Turbo Edition. Insoles from the Peg Turbos as original ones disintegrated after 100 miles. That's interesting. That's interesting. I would have thought that the Infinity insoles would have lasted a longer time, more than 100 miles. But interesting. Let's see. Jonathan Jog says, "Back for the daily dose of Kofuzi." Good to see you back again here, Jonathan. And Scott says, "Second time I'm seeing you for the day." I know, some of you guys have been showing up twice a day, and I apologize because you're probably hearing a lot of the same stories twice. And you got to be getting sick of me at this point. But I'm so glad to have you guys here. Good to see you again, Scott. Hamstring is sore. Ooh, hopefully that doesn't become something big, and just a little time off will do it. Super Schmaltz says, "Hi, hope Mr. 2-year-old sleeps a little while longer so he can actually listen today." Yeah. Well, if you can't, then there's always you can watch it later, but it's good to have you here, Super Schmaltz. There was a theme that I used to post on my social medias when my kids were younger. Like whenever they were sleeping, I would just, I had a hashtag that I had called, "Thank God for Sleeping Babies." And what it was is like anytime like the kids were sleeping in like a stroller or something, my wife and I would hurry up and go get a beer somewhere. And so it'd be pictures of me and my wife drinking beers, or pictures of me and my wife's beers, with the napping baby or like the stroller, just because it's like it's so nice when they sleep. It's so nice when they sleep. And then the thing is, when they were sleeping, I'd be like, oh, I can't wait to play with them when they wake up. Adam Anderson says, good afternoon. Awesome. Alfredo Pliego says, what's going on, Kofuzi? Greg Edohara says, doing the live podcast right now in the background while he works. Awesome. Very cool. Kurt says he's been on work call since 9 a.m., so a quick break before the next call in 30 minutes. So your break from all day of work calls is to jump on like basically a Zoom meeting? That's pretty funny, Kurt. And I'm flattered that you would spend your break from calls that way. Thank you. Let's see. That running guy says morning and evening, everybody. Awesome. All right, let's get to the trivia for today. Today's theme for today's trivia is marathons, and the trivia, there's no points, there's no scoring, there's no prizes. It's just for fun, just to help the conversation going. The theme for today is marathons, and so I think I've asked marathon trivia questions before, and I think I've asked some like ones that are similar to this before. But hopefully some of them are at least a little bit new, and will be at least interesting for some of you guys. And if you've heard them before, I apologize. I'm trying not to recycle these too much, but I felt like, Trivia Tuesday is kind of a new thing here. Last week we did pizza. This week I feel like we had to do like a running one. So I'm doing marathons for the subject for today. All right, here's the first question. Let's see. The first question is, the first organized marathon was in Athens for the 1896 Olympics. How long was it? So that's the question. How long of a marathon was the first marathon that was held in Athens in 1896? That's the question. All right, let's see who else is here while some answers coming in. Let's see. John Harris says, for your hair, you could try a headband. I always look weird with a headband. I've tried it before. Plus, my hairline is receding, so a headband makes that look more receding. Although with the way I cut my hair before and the way it's growing out now, out now, going 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 out now. I'm gonna turn that mic off. Go just abandon the soundboard for today. Let's see. Does it? All right. Everyone's saying Bubtub saying the saboteur is Jameson Michael. Is it working now? Okay. So I disconnected my soundboard. The mic right now is just going to be the mic from the iPad itself. So hopefully we can deal with it for today. But I'm sorry about that. And I didn't know. I didn't realize for a long time. You guys were just telling me and telling me. Okay, audio's back. All right. Okay, so we got it fixed. So 40K. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that and see what that loop was. Let's see. I'll figure out a way to do that. Maybe I'll play that as like the end music one time. Maybe that'll be the new end music. You know, because I love the end music for the videos, but it's music that I've used a long time ago. I picked it up from like one of those, you know, free copyright music type of websites. And what's been happening over the last couple of years is that every single one of those videos is getting claimed by someone on behalf of some other party that sounds totally like illegitimate. But then again, it's like I got the song off of like, I downloaded it off of some link on YouTube. So I think eventually I'm going to need to switch out the music to something else. I just don't know when that's going to happen or how I'm going to do that or how I'm going to pick that. But we'll see. All right. Okay. Everyone's feeling feisty now. Now it just feels like how do I compete with that? Like the trivia questions are just going to be boring compared to that now. All right, Kurt says, is anyone still hearing it restart the stream? Oh man, that's annoying. John Harris says you could get some music person to turn it into a lo-fi type of beat. Maybe we'll do that. My friend, the one I was talking about yesterday, who introduced me to Fridge Tacos, he's the one that he is a musician. And he does electronic music, so like he definitely could do that. I've had one of his songs. I've had two of his songs in videos before, a long time ago. But yeah. So Dave Phillips says, so how long was a marathon? The first marathon in 1896 was 40K. Yeah, so that's the answer, 40K, which I think makes a lot of sense. I feel like 50K also makes a lot of sense, and not to say that I want marathons to be longer, but maybe if you know, if now that like, well, I guess he hasn't officially broken it. Elliot broke 2 hours, but if anyone ever breaks 2 hours in an official like marathon, then maybe they should change the distance to 50K to keep pushing that, you know, the goalpost further out. I'm not seriously advocating for that, but like I really like the round number of 40K because it's just like, you know, when a half marathon is 21K, which makes no sense. Because then if there were 40K, then the 20K the 20K like championships in the U.S. would make sense as a race, right? So it's a distance that makes more sense. And Raymond Galatia says it was the distance between Marathon and Athens. Yeah, that's my understanding. Martha says, "Oh please, let's not make marathons longer." That's so funny. Raymond said it made it to longer in 1908 to 42K to make it end in the grandstand. Dude, you took that. That's the question number 2. So I'm assuming you know the answer to that. But the question is, what city's marathon was the first to be 42.195 kilometers or 26.2 miles? And so I'm guessing you know the answer to that. And you know the way that I understand that story for question number 2 is like, what city made it the current standard distance? Yes, to finish in front of the Queen's box. But I think, you know, I've heard that before, to finish in front of the Queen's box, but I was looking it up some more again, and they were saying that I think it always finished at the Queen's box. I think the thing that I read today, it was on Wikipedia, I think, so I'm not, no, it was on a History Channel website about the history of the marathon, and they were saying that they made it sound like it always finished at the Queen's box, and I could be wrong about this, but they made it became 42.195K because they wanted to start somewhere else so that the royal children could watch the start from the nursery. So that's like the new like twist on that I heard today. So I think a lot of people, everyone already knew that. Maybe not everyone. Sorry, but I didn't give anyone else a chance to like really answer that question. But since Raymond had already like pretty much anticipated the next question. I figured we'd get that one out there. Frank Lahulia says 50K is already in the Olympic. Is it really? That's the race walk distance though, right? There's not a running event that's 50K, is there? Kurt says the 26.2 distance was from Windsor Castle to the Olympic Stadium, and it had to end in front of the Royal Box. That's why the .2 came in. Interesting. Yeah. And then the additional fact that I wanted to add is that that was in 1908, which really wasn't that long from the 1896 marathon in Athens. But it wasn't like, I guess, I don't know. It says it was formalized as the 42.195 in 1921. I don't know who would have decided that, but that's when it was like decided that that's what marathon equals from now on. So, yeah, Martha says, wasn't there something about the Queen of England wanting it? Yes, the royals were involved. I'm not sure exactly where, but yes, it was in the London Marathon. 1908 was the first one to make it that distance. But I think that there were others that were not that distance in the interim because they said it was formalized in 1921, which makes me think there must have been some that were like, no, we've got the marathon distance at 40K. And someone else was like, no, we've got it at 42.195. That makes much more sense, right? And Kurt says it was won by Johnny Hayes of the U.S. Wow, now that's trivia. Awesome work. I didn't know that. Kirsty says, like, yeah, it started at Windsor Castle. That's right. Awesome. No, don't worry about it. Raymond's apologizing. Don't worry about it. That's awesome. You're just one step ahead of me. Awesome. Yeah, Jody Run says the 50K in the Olympics is the race walk. Steve says, damn you, .2. Yeah. Curtsy says, it's a really interesting story because the reason it really became the distance is because of the race itself. Yeah. Cody says, my sister wanted to start running. Yesterday I had her run as far as she could, which was a few minutes. Then I had her run 30 seconds, walk on 30. Is that okay? Any suggestions appreciated? Yeah, I think a lot of run walking is a great way to do it. I think focusing on time is a great way to introduce people to running, not to worry about distance so much. Although I will say for people like me, like having like to say like I did 2 miles today or I did a mile today, I feel like will be a real good like encouragement. And so I would still probably, if you have the capability, track, how far you're going, but not really worry about time and try not to compare it to other people. But, if you're trying to get someone to get into it, a lot of run walking is a great way to get kind of the aerobic strength built up as the body starts to get used to the different kind of impact. So I think that's a great way to do it. That's awesome. And it's glad that you're helping your sister out. Very cool. Wow. Kirsty said he came into the stadium and collapsed, the winner of the 1908 marathon, and he had to be helped across the line. Awesome. Motivation Theory Run says, I can never run just 6. I always have to add the .2 to make it a 10K. I do the same thing. Because I'm like, if you run 6 miles, why don't you just run 10K? So I try to run 6.2. Like, that bothers me. Like, running 6 versus 6.2 bothers me more than running 5.99 miles. But these days, I've kind of gotten over like rounding up the number. I don't really do that anymore because I just feel like, I'll make it up another day. I'll get it somewhere else. Unless it's like, if I'm at like 19 something, there's almost no way you're going to get me to stop at 19 something. I'll round that up to 20. I like to have that 20 mark. Wow, Kirsty, you know a lot about that London Marathon. Awesome. All right, let's go to question 3 because we're getting into it real late with that audio glitch that we had. So we talked about so far how the first marathon was 40K, then it became 42K. Now let's talk about another marathon that is neither 40 or 42K, the Comrades Marathon. About how long is that one? I think it varies from year to year, depending on the course exactly. So I'll take any answers that are in the vicinity. But it's not 40, it's not 42K. What do you think is the distance of Comrades Marathon, South Africa? Motivation Theory runs it. It drives me crazy on Strava when I see you not do the last .1. I know it drives people crazy, but I've just gotten over it at this point, and I like to I just leave it there. And then sometimes at this point when I'm close, I'll be like, I'm just gonna leave it there just to kind of poke the bear and see who gets annoyed. All right, we got a lot of answers. We've got 100 max power, coming in with 100K. That's a great answer from that username. Awesome. Tobias tells us 56 miles, which I only know the answer in kilometers, so I'm not sure. I don't know if that's right. John Harris says 60K. That's not it. Jody Run says 88K-ish. That's kind of the answer that I'm looking for. The answer that I have down is 89. I've looked at some of the previous races, and some years they race it down, and some races they race it up. Right? That's my understanding. I'm not that familiar with comrades, but my favorite is that, like, it's the marathon that I bring up every time someone asked me how long my marathon was this weekend. And I'm like, well, I mean, some marathons are not 26.2. But I've seen it at 92, I've seen it at 89, I've seen it at 90. So anywhere in that area, I will accept as a correct answer. So Jody Runs got it, and Cody had it at 90K, Jason Lee, 90K, Jeff Elliott, 50 miles. What does 50 miles equal? It's not 90. Is it 90? No. I don't know. Is that 90K? Maybe it's 50 miles. Blaz Grabnar with 45K. Mr. Germs at 50. No, those are not it. Brendan came with 88K. I'll take that. Louis Becerra had 89. That was the answer that I was looking for. CV76 says $1. I mean, you didn't go over, that's for sure. Good. That's a very good guess. Super Small says 89 to 90K. Very good. Excellent. Yeah, Jeff Elliott says, no, he knows it reverses each year, one up, one down. I didn't realize that until this morning. But that is an event that I would like to do. I don't know, like, that I'm capable of doing it, but it just sounds like so much fun. I like the name of it, Comrades, too. And the fact that it's a marathon that's not 26.2, I like that as well. John Harris doing the math for us. 89K equals 55.3 miles. So everyone that said about 50 miles or 55 miles, I'll take it. That's right. Let's see. Frank Lahoulier says Barkley marathons. And that is actually the next question. Not how long is the Barkley marathons, though. We'll get to the next question. Question number 4 for today is, how long is what's considered the fun run at the Barkley marathons? So I think most people probably know that the Barkley marathons is about 100 miles, but I think most people probably know that it's usually a little bit longer than 100 miles too. And so what is the fun run? I think a lot of you guys are going to get this one. I think I made these too easy today. I didn't want to get like super trivia-y, like who came in third at like the Hamburg Marathon in 2012. You know, I didn't want to do that. Although I bet you someone here would know that. But, man, everyone got this perfect. Man, you guys nailed it. Cody Davis says Barkley equals Psycho. I think that's probably true. But the fun run at the Barkley Marathon is 3 loops, or about 60 miles. So, well done. Blaz Grabner says, Comrades Marathon, not my win, it's our win. That sounds good. Sounds cool. My daughter is getting a little bit antsy today. Sebastian Barahona says, hey Kofuzi, I don't know if it's just me, but I'm always hungry on my recovery days, more so than the days I run. Do I just like to eat, or am I onto something? You might be onto something. It might be your body telling you, hey, you know, it's doing work, it's trying to rebuild, so give it fuel. So it might be saying that. You also could be getting those food cravings because maybe some of your electrolytes are off. Maybe you're a little underhydrated. I won't say dehydrated, but maybe you just need to hydrate a little bit more, or maybe you need some more salt, that kind of thing. So I generally say, you know, within reason and in moderation, I generally like to listen to my cravings. So if my cravings are for like junk food, every once in a while I'll say, all right, let's have some junk food. You guys know what I eat, or I've been very open about what I eat, so I give into that craving a little more than I probably should. But, you know, I feel like if you've got a weird craving, like kind of like pregnancy craving kind of thing, you know, like they always say that like women when they're pregnant, although my wife never had it, but when some women are pregnant, they crave weird combinations of stuff. I always feel like that's your body saying like, hey, give me things. I need certain things. We're low on stuff, so here's our ideas. Here's our suggestions. You know, CV76 says I crave beer. That one maybe you do in a little bit more moderation. Awesome, that's so funny. Greg Itahara says fun run equals run with the Kofuzi. Yeah, we'll have to do that sometime. I look forward to when we can do that. I think that, you know, I'm probably going to try and do something like that for Chicago once we feel comfortable doing group runs again. But I'm guessing that we won't be able to do that first one like at the lakefront. I think that's going to be the last place to open up along the lakefront in like Chicago, one of the last places. Blaz Grabnar says, have to go see. I hope my dreams won't be weird from that voice loop from before. I hope not either. I'm going to have to listen to that. And Maybe I'll try to get a recording of it and put it into the for the podcast at the end there. Super Small says Barkley got bought out, probably time. Did it really? Wasn't it just the that was just the was it? It was Gary Robbins. That was his April Fool's joke, was it? Or did it really get? I don't think it really got bought out, did it? Yeah, Tom Anderson. It was an April Fool's prank by Jimmy O'Curry and Gary Robbins. That's what I thought. Yeah. Nick Zink says, newbie here. How to start running if my record is 400 to 500 meters? Then I feel sick afterwards for an hour and a half. I'll say slow down and run more. So that's one thing I would say. Run for, if you're a beginner, if you think you're a newbie, then I would say run for time and not distance so much. And so if you want to run for 10 minutes for the day, run out in one direction 5 minutes, keeping in mind you want to try to run or walk the entire way back. And then, slowly do that a couple days, then get further and further and further. And do run walks. I agree with that, Sagnik Bhattacharya says. Awesome. All right, let's go to question number 5 for today. All right, this one is kind of a curveball. So, the Boston Marathon started in 1897, making it the U.S.'s... Uh-oh, got a phone call coming in. Hold on. Sometimes that messes up the recording of a podcast. All right. Okay, so the Boston Marathon started in 1897, making it the U.S.'s oldest marathon. What year did the New York Marathon start? That's the curveball. What year did the New York Marathon start? Now, keep in mind there have been marathons in New York, but as like the New York Marathon, like I don't know if it was run by the New York Roadrunners. It was maybe New York Roadrunners Foundation. I think that's how it started out. I don't know if that's necessarily the organization, but the race that's known as the New York Marathon, when did that start? We've got a variety of answers. Jody coming in 1972. Tom Anderson says 1957. Sagnik says 1970. We got 46, 12. Total guess from Donovan Hornbeck, 1965. And Cody Davis nails it on the head, as did Sagnik, 1970. Yeah, we got a lot of 1970s coming in. Yeah. So, yeah. So Jody Run says 50 years. There's no 50-year run, so it's 1970. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's crazy. Yeah, 1970. So it's weird to think about that it took over almost 100 years for there to be a New York Marathon. Although, like I was reading and doing some research on that one, there was apparently a marathon type of event. Because remember, we talked about how like 1896 in Athens, that was like the 40K marathon, right? So there was another event there was the Summer Olympics in 1896 in Athens, and then the Boston Marathon was April of 1897. That fall, in the interim, there was a marathon event in New York. It started in Stamford, Connecticut, and ended in the Bronx. But I don't know why that didn't like become. I think it was like a one and done event. And then there were other I think marathons in New York that happened, but it wasn't like the New York Marathon. So that was 1970, which is pretty young. Yeah. So I was surprised by that. I had no idea. Although I guess if you had signed up for it and you were ready and excited to run the 50th running of the New York City Marathon, you probably knew that really well. Shannon Sai says, have you ever researched the 1904 Olympic Marathon in St. Louis? So crazy and interesting. I have not. When I lived in St. Louis, everyone spoke a lot about because they had the World's Fair as well. And so it was a big year for St. Louis. And a lot of St. Louis still has a lot of the sequelae, I guess, of it was the sequelae of what had happened at the World's Fair. So a lot of the mansions and stuff were still there, and the Forest Park was a big part of it. People still talk about the World's Fair in St. Louis. At least they did when I lived there back in the turn of the century. I like saying it like that because it makes it sound really old timey. I mean, I guess it is because it was 18 years ago, but yeah, people still talked about it almost 100 years later. A lot. It was weird. Ines Dunbar says 1970 can't be 50 years ago. That would make me 51 this year. Oh, I am. How did that happen? I know time flies, right? It's crazy. Like all of a sudden, like it went from, I would say for me, it went from me being like, yes, I am in my 20s, like being like the super young looking guy, to then being like, oh, I guess I guess I'm middle aged now. When I was like in my mid 30s, and now I'm being like a 40-year-old person. I'm like, oh, I guess like saying that I'm middle aged is true, but maybe being a little bit generous at this point. I don't know. So it's strange. Time really does fly. Super Small says the only reason that the Olympics were in St. Louis was because of the World's Fair. It was not the first choice. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine like how like like what a weird time that would have been for the city in St. Louis to have both of those at the same time. Um, the main takeaway that I have from the St. Louis World's Fair is the Ferris wheel. It was the Ferris wheel there, right? And the ice cream cone, like the waffle cone, were like debuted there. And I think it's just weird that like that's where like foods were like debuted, like an auto show kind of thing. It's funny. Um, but yeah. Greg says Chicago Lakefront might open as soon as June, but with limits, says the mayor. I know she was like hinting at something earlier. She says, but I don't know. I have a feeling like they'll try that and then they'll be like, nope, we're not gonna let that happen. That was, we tried it and you guys like abused it, and so we're not gonna let you do it. I have a feeling that's what's gonna happen. I hope that's not what happens, but I just don't know. I saw one of my friends. She posted a sign, a picture of a sign. They're up in Seattle. It's my friend that I ran the tunnel marathon with, his family. They were out walking some trails out in Seattle, and there the signs say "Keep it moving," which I'm like, oh, I like that sign, because then the sign underneath it says like like no gathering, no large groups. Like if you're on the trail, keep moving through it, which I feel like is that I like that mantra. I like that better than stay home, stay safe. I like that. And I feel like, I read Greg sent me the link to the CARA proposal, the Chicago Area Renters Association proposal to open up the lakefront, making it so that way people that are passing, it'd be permitted for people to pass through it and like use the trail. And I think that that makes a lot of sense. But, game theory also makes sense. But like people aren't rational beings. And so game theory is a great theory, but it doesn't accurately predict human behavior most of the time because humans are irrational. And, I think that like if you gave people the option to use the lakefront to pass through, yeah, that's one of the like we live in a weird 1984 society now. Like the one thing that people wouldn't see a lot of is people using it to pass through. I think that's just how I feel like. Super Small saying who has the St. Louis connection as well. Says Ferris wheel debuted at the 1893 World's Fair in Hyde Park, and eventually it was brought to St. Louis for the fair. Yeah, I knew there was also a Chicago connection to it too. I couldn't remember what, but yeah. Yeah. John Harris says, I look forward to hearing the audio glitch in a video and knowing that only the 80 people that were watching the stream know what's going on. I mean, and then I got to figure out a way to loop that together with what's going on, and then that weird audio glitch, because the two, like they're hand in glove, right? It fits together. Wait, Shannon says in that marathon that they gave the winner rat poison during the race to give him a little kick. Forget about Goose and Gatorade. It's a fascinating story. That's crazy. That's crazy. Wow. Yeah. I'm very tempted to make an analogy to Lysol there, but I'll refrain. Try not to get political on these things. All right, let's go to the bonus question real quick because we're getting a little long today. I always like to do bonus. So, I guess it's a nice segue. So let's say the question, I don't know like if this is an officially correct answer. I've done some research. I couldn't find anything later. If you guys can find anything later, let me know. What was the date of the last marathon, and I think there were a couple, held in the U.S. in 2020? What was the date of the last marathon in the U.S. in 2020? Because remember, as I was like thinking back on the year, I was like, well, I went to Austin. There was a marathon then. I did the Houston Marathon in January. Then I was in Austin in February. Then I was in Atlanta. And the trials were on the leap year day, February 29th. But then the Atlanta Marathon was March 1st. I was like, was that the last day? So March 1st was a Sunday for reference. So if you want to like kind of guess a date when in March it was. Martha guessed LA Marathon. What day was the LA Marathon? Did that one go? Did that happen this year? I thought it was canceled this year. No? Anyone know? Motivation Theory running Olympic trials is a very good guess, and for a while I thought that had to have been it, but that wasn't it. There was some more. Jen from Wa says LA went on March 8th, but that was not the date. I was able to find a couple. They aren't huge, but I was able to find two that were later than that, later than March 8th. The date that I have is March 15th. Yeah, Matthew Wenzel coming in with March 15th. And there was two. There's one in Long Beach, California, which I looked at some of the race photos, and it looked like it was like 20 people that got together with a couple of flags at the start. So I'm not sure if I wasn't able to look at any results at it because I think it's for privacy reasons. Since there's only like 20 people, I think the only way you could search the results is if you had a name to search by. So I didn't see any results, but that went on the 15th, as well as the I think that was the Rock St. Patrick's Day Marathon in Long Beach, California. And then also on March 15th, the Virginia Creeper Trail Marathon. The winner came in at 2:47. So Shannon says, I'm thinking a tiny one in Iowa or something. That would have been a real good guess. But Iowa is not so great of a place to run in March. So like the one that I found in Virginia, March 15th, Virginia's could be a pretty nice time to run a marathon in Virginia, March 15th. So that's the bonus for today. I didn't want to make it like a downer question, but I felt like, we're talking about marathons. I felt like we talked about the first marathons, then we'll talk about some of the last marathons. Then I guess like we could leave it at like, when do we think the next marathon is going to be? Frank said he ran a 50K on February 29th. That's cool. Donovan Hornbeck said 2:47, pretty impressive for a trail marathon. Yeah, I don't know like how trail it was, like if it was just like on like converted old rail lines kind of thing, or if it was like a trail marathon. But if it was like a trail in Virginia, could be either way, I think. Depends on how far east in the state you are. But if you're further west in the state, that could be real hilly. So I don't know. I think that the 2:47 sounds right. I remember thinking, that's really fast for a trail marathon. So, yeah. So, Creeper Trail is rails to trail. Oh, okay. Awesome. Cool. Very cool. I didn't know that. I was hoping someone would be familiar with the event here. That is awesome. Very cool. Donovan says, I'm a new subscriber. Just wondering if you ever run an ultra or consider running one. I've not, and I'm thinking about one now. I think I'm just going to not really run a race, but I think I might do one. We're getting very close to the 50,000 subscriber mark for the channel, and I thought I was going to run a race in Iowa, a 50K in Iowa, and I wasn't going to tell anyone about it. I was just going to I was going to certainly sign up for the event, but I wasn't going to have a build up to it or anything like that. It was just going to be like the video on Tuesday, or on like a random. I was going to run the event, film it. I think people would have. I don't know if I would have had to have hidden it on Strava somehow. But I was just going to go out there, run the event, and then have it just on the whatever day I hit 50K and release the video that day. That was the plan. That would have been more interesting. But I don't know that race has officially been canceled or not. And Iowa does not have a shelter-in-place order right now, so I don't know if it can actually go. But I'm probably not going to run one. Let's see. See, Luis Becerra says there's a marathon the 24th of May in Wyoming. Yeah, I think, that's interesting. Let's see, come to Virginia and run a 50K with me on the trails. I hope I can sometime. I'd love to. Martha says, this live stream was a blast, glitches and all. Thank you very much. Thanks everyone for your patience. Sorry about the audio glitches, but I think this is a great way to leave it for today. I had a really great time today with Trivia Tuesday. You guys were really spot on the trivia. I'm gonna have to make it harder for next time. I had a lot of fun. Hope you guys had a lot of fun too. I'll be back tomorrow, 6 a.m. on Instagram and 3 p.m. here on YouTube again. Hopefully I can see you again soon. And hopefully you guys are staying safe on your runs in the meantime. And I will see you in the next one. Thanks, everybody.